let me take, how are we gonna divide this? Maybe I take one and two. One and two. I can, but I don't want to monopolize. I'm not autocratic. I don't go to retreats. But I'll take one and two, and maybe you can take the third one, if you can share. I feel like security-led world, the tension will go up. But the situation or the experience of Thailand of lost decade in the past 10 years after the military coup, it explains that just because you have uniformity of the way you think, you lose out creativity and innovation. And whether if you have army as morale police, hoping that the corruption will go down, if you have this kind of domination of ideas, it's just not the case if you look at the corruption perception index. So I think that's something that Indonesia can learn from Thailand, that it's about inclusion, about diversity, so trial and error, and that's how you come up with creativity and innovation rather than uniformity of things. The second question is about, you were trying to explain like how Chinese companies are already investing in Mexico and Southeast Asia to avoid what Trump is about to do.
Yeah, kind of like, and a lot of them are already like positioned themselves in Thailand, and they have like businesses there, and then they ship like from Thailand. Sometimes like they can go like have different tariffs from that instances.
So that could be an opportunity that you capitalize, and not just a sweatshop for China, but the way you think about transfer of technology so that Thailand can really participate. Fatima was talking about EV, for example. So 100 EVs that is being produced in China, only 40 is within China, in the Chinese market. 60% is outside. So even if it was Biden administration, they have that kind of tariff. Europe had that kind of tariff. Thailand, there's nothing like that. There's no gate-telling. So a lot of EVs entered into Thai market, which is fine. Only that Thailand was a Detroit of Asia, and we have ICE industry that is in place, and about 1 million people is being employed in that automotive sector. So it's that kind of question that if, because of Trump presidency and the fossil fuel agenda that he has, then it's very much giving global dominance of EV to the Chinese or not. That becomes another issue that we have to think about that. If that really happens, how do you balance or find the cadence, find the rhythm of obviously trying to electrify transportation, but at the same time making sure that the existing infrastructure that's been there for many, many years, as well as employment, is there. That's the kind of art, the kind of balance that Thailand needs.
I'm not sure I understood can you see your question in a different way?
Yeah, in short,
Sorry, I missed your name.
it's I'm Ritul, by the way, I'm also from.
How you guys see any of that? That's sort of for all of it.
How do you want to prioritize?
Let's just go down the line, and
Okay.
if any of you have anything that you'd like to say on either of those questions, be my guest.
So for the question about short-term potential of ASEAN producers overtaking Chinese producers because of the 60% tariff, that's rubber, that's food and juice, that's machineries for Thailand. I mean, I looked it up already, that these are potential industries that we can take care of if it were to happen. However, like I said, in short term it might be an opportunity, but in the long term I feel like that's not going to be the case, because what comes into the country goes out of the country. America relies on global trade of about 27%, and even if you find a short-term fix, but in a long-term competitiveness, you need incoming goods and services and talent. As per your question on India, talent, two things, biotech and space economy. Given the transition team, vaccines and space, those are something that countries outside of this Sino-American trade retaliation can think about. Second one on Provovo, that's how I answered it. Ambition with question on credibility. Obviously, it's clear that he has international ambition, but it's a continuity from Jokowi with some criticism with that constitutional court, the age of 35 of Gibran, and Kaesang being 29 running for provincial election. So he has that kind of legitimacy question that needs to really answer to a lot of Western leaders when he's trying to do so. On Myanmar, obviously, yes. So, to turn 5-point consensus to 5-year roadmap, you need frontier state diplomacies, and that's China, India, and Thailand. Without the frontier diplomacy of India being on board on this side, and the Chinese being on board on top, and Thailand on the right side, then you can't really come up with a right amount of pressure and the right amount of incentives so that the people of Myanmar can get together and decide what the future of the post-conflict Myanmar, how it would look like. So it has become much harder for sure. In terms of dynastic politics, I don't think of that word as a negative word by universal design, by umbrella. It's the proxy leadership. That's the problem. Just because you're a Bush or you're a Kennedy or a Lee, it doesn't throw me off right away in terms of last names. I mean, they were born like that, but in terms of proxy leadership, if you have to, you can't decide on the spot. You got to ask your parents. That's when it becomes an issue. Whether you're a Trudeau, Abe, or a Bush or Kennedy, it doesn't bother me that much. But it's proxy leadership that you have to go back to the Senate leader if you are Hun Manet, or you have to go to your father if you are Pat on Pat, to decide on something that is instant, something that is so severe, and you couldn't come up with an answer yourself. That's where the problem lies. So that's why it's a kind of pain point that our former party, Move Forward Party, was trying to do, is to have a party platform that becomes a bridge for young people to run for office without compromising their values or their bank accounts. So that's a pain point, that's for sure, but we definitely see it as an opportunity and not just a threat.
ดูคลิปจบแล้วอย่าลืมกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามกดกระดิ่งให้ด้วยนะครับ